Good evening, everybody, and welcome tonight to day 44. I see you there, Texas. Evening, y'all. Love and prayers from Texas. Much love, PG and Xenia. God bless. Evening, PG, taking a break from watching some hockey to hear the truth. God bless Ukraine. Hello, Pastor Greg, Ontario, Canada. Ruby Davis. I see all of you guys here. Nathan Fody, I didn't know they watch hockey in California other than San Jose. And I saw here earlier, Wilberforce, he lives in Missouri. He was cutting the grass 2 days ago and watching snowflakes fall today. I think we have the same thing happening here in Western PA over this weekend. Steve Olsgaard, Marysville, California, making sure you got the video update. Shirley Phelps, Longview, Washington. Welcome, everybody, jumping in here tonight. We have a full hour. Unfortunately, Xenia and I were a little prophetic last night. And honestly, folks, we really do try to do our best to be completely accurate. I mean, extremely accurate. In fact, last night we talked. Oh, let's see, when the program ended, Xenia and I then had to make another video for an advertisement for California. And then we ended up talking quite a while, planning some things for the future, as well as discussing, you know, the current events and the current situation, things that, you know, a lot of times I wake him up at 3:50 a.m. He grabs his coffee and he's in the slot. He's ready to go. His camera's set up. But we do not have time a lot of times to pre-prep. So it's just him and I going off of, you know, the presentations, the documents, the images, the videos I prepared, but typically we're spot on. But we're talking on some things now. Hello there, Bob Piccarelli and Larry Gorley. We're talking on some things now for the future that are going to be quite difficult to cover, quite difficult to describe. And it just lends itself toward the complexity of this war. So last night, yes, we talked about Kramatorsk. Yes, we talked about the trains and the potential attacks on those trains. And unfortunately today, when we woke up this morning, we both will talk about it in a second. That was the first thing we saw. So we're going to get going. We have a full hour. Lots of stuff, but we're going to start with Xenia. A couple of hours ago, he and I just did a little prep on the day and a little conversation. We'll start there tonight. Xenia and I just a little while ago. All right, bud, we are a few hours away before going live tonight, and I hope you've had a good day. I've got lots of things that I'm sharing tonight that you've given me. Some work that we've done in the humanitarian aid side, tickets, families, et cetera, but the big thing today that everybody is rightfully talking about is the murder in Kramatorsk. You know, we talked a little bit earlier, and by no means are we prophetic, but we discussed that last night, the attacks on the train stations, the attacks. We were specifically talking about the train tracks in front of the stations so they couldn't leave. But now we're just attacking the train stations. This is madness.
Yes, it's a terrible news. In the morning it was, I mean, it's just like a heavy weight, you know, from the morning. All of that, it's like...
You and I, you know, once the program was over last night, we recorded the video for Word of Life Church in California. And then we continued to talk for a while just about the war and about the power of media, the power of propaganda. And we see it at work today that...
Same way.
I mean, the truth is, one news agency in Russia And you would have to understand Russian completely for me to show you this and verify it. But this news agency in Russia was reporting the missile strike that Ukraine had done on their own people before the missiles ever hit the ground. And it's documented. It's documented on the times. They messed up. They released their information too early. And it just proves that Ukraine, of course, is not doing this to their own people.
There is more.
Okay.
On some of Russian Telegram channels, there were recommendation. Last night it was about, I think, after midnight, about 10 minutes to after past midnight, and there were recommendation for the people. It's in Russian Telegram channel for people who wants to be, looking for evacuation, and wants to leave the Kramatorsk and the other closest places. It was recommendation not to use a railway.
Wow. It was planned, of course.
It was planned. It's good. It's confirmed.
Yes.
And then immediately they, after they realized that, so a few minutes before, it was like before the attack, it was that some info that it's yes, like the two missiles or rockets are attacking Ukrainian army. Then when it's got to railway station and so many civilian people died, it was corrected, and it was surely internet remembers everything, so it was corrected that. And that Ukrainians killing their own civilian people, attacking by .U, and so on. So it's just the same.
.U is a type of missile. That is just crazy, and we're watching it every day. Honestly, last night we even talked about how we only give information we can confirm. We only share, and if I have something wrong, you correct me, or you make sure I'm sharing accurately each night. Most nights, whether recorded or live, you're on here with me from inside Ukraine. But I'll be honest with you, it was tough for me to wake up this morning knowing that just a few hours before we had been talking about the trains, talking about the train stations, talking about the train tracks. I even showed a picture last night, you were with me, of the people there trying to load the trains. I mean, thousands of people trying to leave. And then I wake up, I check the headlines, and the first thing I see is Kramatorsk major attack. And I've been right there on those sidewalks, as I know you have, and it just wasn't a good day. It seems, these are the things that we have to deal with. I don't know, but we went into a pretty deep theological discussion last night, and you're going to be asleep when this program's actually live tonight. But for sure, over the next few days, we're going to look at this from some different angles. We have to, as far as it relates to, the Bible, of which we believe as Christians and ministers, and take some real angles on this, because this has to stop. I mean, it just has to stop, but there's just things we have to look at and evaluate when we look at Scripture, and it's a challenge.
Yes, and I would say the next thing that for me, as I understand it, the picture and the church is not completed or fulfilled, let's say, their mission according description of the Bible and about the last times. And it means that I don't know how, but it's we will see more. It's not the end. As for me, it's not the end, and I don't know what will be the next, like,
I don't either.
in real.
But it's
But I believe the church is not finished yet. It's not fulfilled. So it is not the end. So I don't know. And God has a plan. God
yes,
surely has a plan.
agreed,
Yes,
100%.
and I don't know. I don't have like a special revelation. And maybe if people knows, okay, they got it. Praise God. I don't know, but I don't have this kind. But I have like understanding that there is some future, and now in this future it will be. It's a revival, and by revival I mean awakening. Like the church in these regions will be raising up, awakening, re-evaluating the responsibility, re-evaluating of the power of prayer, getting back to the let's say truth, which the first church had in the beginning.
I think that
So,
could be also classified as a discovery or rediscovery of true salvation.
yes.
You know, I think that's what it is. Hey, look over my shoulder there. Look up there. You're
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yes, I see it.
Mama number 2, there's your flag up there. I even put it in front of Barney's face. Man, that's like, sacrilegious to cover up Barney, but no, sir. He's allowed to be covered up right now. Let's change gears for a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Okay. Oh, okay. You will see it. Better I will show it the next live.
Next live. Okay. Well, write it down so you don't forget.
Okay.
All right. Listen.
Okay.
Bad day, Kramatorsk. Bad day, militarily, as far as some of the attacks. Odessa is preparing for the same thing. They've put a curfew on their people for the next few days. It just seems like there's some different strategy going. And today, if you didn't hear, I'm sure you did, Russia changed their general. And the new general, I'll show his picture tonight. The new general is a bad guy. And I mean bad as in Ploha. He's bad. He's the guy, the general that was responsible for the war in Syria. And brutal. So they've changed to him as the field general for all the forces. And we'll see what that entails. But that has happened today. But on the flip side, you helped some people today. We helped some people today. I'm going to show the pictures in a little bit of tickets, helping families, serving refugees. In fact, you have refugees in there tonight from Kramatorsk. So
yes,
we're having good days with the bad days. So how is the local ministry going serving today? A lot of good things were accomplished.
Okay. Yes, I would add, I don't know, have you read it or not on the news, but it was signed, emphasized that the churches were helping to evacuate people from Kramatorsk.
Wow.
By their transport, and it's in different news. You can read it, and in case if you want, I can send you some
Please do.
links, let's say, on that. We were helping. Let's say this one of our volunteers' father right now on the east, and it's already there is few days. And there is no connection with him, and we are trying to help and figure out what's going on. It's a war, and it's already 2 situations like this, and the reality is. I was calling to one mother whose son is fighting for Ukraine, and I was asking, okay, how is your son? She says, every day I'm checking the list of killed soldiers.
Yes.
So today I was checked. There is no my son there, so I have hope. This is reality. And one more picture of the reality. I was talking with my wife and was asking how are you doing, and she was sharing a couple things, and then I did thank to Peter and Olga, thanking
Yes.
thanking for the care and help my family.
Moment.
And then yes, moment. And then I shared this the moment how Alice, my daughter, commented that. She said, "Oh yes, this war you helping us, and we staying in your place. So next war you probably staying in our place."
Now you have to understand this
Can
is
you?
but how old is Alice?
5. She's 5.
She's 5 years old, and Zhenya's wife and small children are there in the Netherlands with very dear friends of ours, Peter and Olga Momot, who are Ukrainian, that moved there a few years ago. So to hear that story coming out of a 5-year-old, you help us this war, we'll help you the next one. But it shows you the mentality. You know, one thing, Zhenya, I want to make very clear tonight.
Yes.
You keep saying, the world keeps saying, the East, the West, the East. But I really need to let the Americans understand, and even those that watch us from other nations, when we think of the East as Americans, and you've been to America, if you're in California and you think about the East, you think, okay, New York. And it's a long ways away. It's a full day on the airplane. It's multiple days driving on great highways. But folks, just so you know, I have it right here on my right. I just Googled from Khmelnytsky to Kramatorsk. And this is not a straight line as the crow flies. As the crow flies, it's even less. But to drive from Khmelnytsky to Kramatorsk, you go through Vinnytsia, you go through Dnipro, and then you go into Kramatorsk. I'm just looking right across the road system on my map here. 580 miles. Zhenya, it's small. It's not far to the east.
No.
So maybe it's good for people to understand that when we talk about how far the east is from, like, the central of, Kyiv and Bila Tserkva and Odessa, that central region, and then you come over more into the western region with Khmelnytsky, which is kind of west central. Folks, it's just not far. I mean, I'm sure most of you watching tonight have driven 580 miles. I hop in the vehicle when I go hunting. It's 447 miles from my doorstep to my cousin's house where I stay. And when I'm just driving by myself, 6 hours, 45 minutes, 7 hours by car. Now I'm moving, but I mean, I'm not flying, but I'm just not stopping, and the roads are good. So, 8, 9, 10 hours on good roads, you're there. It's just, it's not as big as you think. So when you hear Ukrainians or the media talk about the East, well, it's in the East, folks. It's not far. So yeah, this is why. Far. It's right.
Yeah, you can leave in the morning, and if the road is not so busy, evening you're there.
Yes,
it's like that. I mean, But including all the blog posts, all the checks, passport check, documents check, the car checks, everything. But early morning, in the evening, you'll be there.
The point being as well, 500 miles is nothing for a missile.
Yes, correct.
So that's the reality of what we're dealing with. And of course, the air raids continue throughout Ukraine. How about the family today? You helped with tickets. Let's give a good report before you go get some sleep tonight. How about that family?
Okay, about that family, they were staying a few weeks at our shelter number 3, and they originally from area between Bucha and Gostomel.
Holy moly!
From the village, and it's between two places, two villages, and their neighbors called them and they said, "Your house, it's quite it's still okay. It can be fixed, but you can live inside. So please, you can come back." So they decided to come back. It's a private house. I think they have own water source. I hope so.
Like a well.
So the well, and we were helping them. They couldn't leave because the girl, the small girl, she was sick. Quite I don't know how many days, but we were helping with that. With
I have a picture of her.
So. And today they decided to leave, and they came to Tony or contacted Tony and asked, okay, if it's possible, we have no money, but if it's possible, would you help us with the buying tickets? And I'll say, okay, surely the answer was yes, sure.
Yeah.
And now one of our volunteers went there and bought the tickets with them. The tickets they wanted, and they are on the way home. Then as well, we prepared some special, a bag with the food for baby, food for them, and so they're right now on the way.
They're going to go back and try to repair their home and see what happens. I don't blame them.
Yes, and
they
did promise. Yeah. Okay, they did promise to call us and give us a report about how they are doing there.
Good. So, and the good news is when we see like a conclusion to the story of that, where people are even not leaving Ukraine, that's good. And then B, it also frees up space to serve other refugees because more are coming. So it's a good story. That's a good day, being able to support them. Well, that's about it, bud. I know you need to get some rest. It's 5:45 Eastern now as we're prepping. 12:45 a.m. in Khmelnytsky, Ukraine.
Yeah. It's a good time to go to sleep.
Yes. I will not wake you up. Maybe.
Thank you.
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe.
If the sirens start ringing, you know I'm calling. All right, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We love you. Thank you for everything.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you for...
All right, there you have it, folks. PK putting in private house. Yeah, it is just a home. It's not an apartment building. And news reported people coming back to Ukraine. Yeah, people have been coming back to Ukraine since the war started. You have to understand there is a diaspora. People have been spread abroad around the entire world, and many young men and women did come back, but they didn't come back to live. They came back to fight. So when you're seeing those reports of people coming back, it's not coming back. There's nothing to come back to in these homes and cities that are destroyed. They're coming back to fight and defend their homeland. I want to start here tonight. I want to thank Jenya for that. I'm going to show you a picture of that family. In fact, why don't I do that right now? This is the young man. I didn't get a picture of his wife. Let's drop a scripture before we get going, because I'm going to, next 30 minutes in our final 30, I'm going to roll through a lot of stuff that we've prepared. May Yahweh be with you. Zechariah 10:5. Together they will be like warriors in battle, trampling their enemy into the mud of the streets. They will fight because the Lord is with them, and they will put the enemy horsemen to shame. You know what? I'll take that one too. All right. This is the young man, and I didn't get a picture of the wife. This is the daughter. In fact, Zhenya told me that the little girl had been sick for quite a while. No, Sharon, there's nobody. You're not. There's people not coming back. Not yet. They're not even thinking about it. You may have seen a rare image or two that the media puts out as people coming back, but they're not coming back. Not yet. They're not even, they're told not to come back yet. And when you see this young man right here and his daughter and his wife, they're not going to a city. They live in a village, and you have to understand a village can have 10 homes in it, 15 homes in it, 20 homes in it, one little government center. And that's where he's heading back to. This is the young man, this is his daughter, and this is a family that we, you included, have been able to help. Now, I want to drop a couple of videos on you to get started tonight from Dmitry Peskov. Dmitry Peskov, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, they're not coming back. Not yet. Only after victory. It's tough. Most of them have nothing to come back to. So I want to show you a couple of videos from Dmitry Peskov. Oh, absolutely, Medic Trevor. You man, listen, I'm an American, and the only reason I'm here is because my mother and my wife forbid me to go. I would be right there beside Zhenya right now, live streaming at 4 a.m. from Ukraine. And if this continues, that may happen. I just won't tell my mother, and I don't know what I'll do with my wife, but tie her to the chair or something. But if it keeps on, I'm gone. I'm telling you. But we better move on because they'll be coming up here to get me right now. I want to show you a couple of videos by Peskov. He is the spokesman for the Kremlin, and first video is just going to show you that Russia's been preparing for this invasion, this war, for a long time. As we have reminded you, the war didn't start on February 24th, 2022. The war started in 2014 with the annexation illegally of Crimea and the breakaway regions of the separatists in Lugansk and Donetsk. That's when the war started. Phase 2 of the war was the invasion on February 24th, 2022. But even here, listen to Peskov talking. This is with Sky News. They knew this was coming. Here you go.
Under sanctions for a couple of decades, and we actually have got accustomed to that situation. And well, we've started to prepare ourselves for these sanctions a year ago, and so now, of course, we are in a very tight situation in terms of economy.
A year ago, preparing. Now, the next statement he made, he actually got in trouble for because he admitted that Russia had lost many, many troops. And he got corrected. In fact, the Kremlin was very upset with him. But, I mean, he's tight in the circle, but they did not like what he said here. Just the one part about Russia losing quite a few troops. Check this one out.
Now, you've lost thousands of troops. You've lost 6 generals, hundreds of tanks and other equipment. It's a humiliation, really, isn't it?
No. It's a wrong understanding of what is going on.
But what is wrong about what I've just said?
Well, nearly everything.
Well, but you've lost thousands of troops, yeah? Let's go through it. You've lost thousands of troops. How many troops have you lost?
We have significant losses of troops, and it's a huge tragedy for us. Now about two regions, Kiev and the Chernigov regions. So actually the troops were really withdrawn from that region as an act of a goodwill during the negotiations between two delegations, Russian and Ukrainian delegation. And it was an act of a goodwill just to lift tension from those regions, and in order to show that Russia is really ready to create comfortable conditions for continuation of negotiations.
Yeah, but it's just not true, is it?
I don't know. Well, I do know. These people are reprobate. This is Putin's spokesman. He got in trouble for admitting that thousands had been killed in the war. But you could hear him answer the Sky News anchor, what's wrong with what I'm telling you? Well, everything's wrong with what you're telling me. And secondly, we removed our troops from Kyiv and Chernihiv as an act of goodwill to let the Ukrainians know that we really want to negotiate with them. Folks, this is what this regime believes. It is bonkers. Right here, this is the active military map for today. You can see the attacks coming in from the northeast. You can see them coming in from the east, of course, and from the south. Today, there has, and just recently, attacks on Odessa, attacks on Kherson, even though it's occupied on the outskirts there. Also, there were attacks along the front lines there from Sumy down through Izum, down towards Donetsk. This is where the activity has been. It's just a continuation of preparing for this next assault, and it's going to happen. These are just preparatory movements. I had this translated today, and I want to say thank you to Lena Vlasiuk. She's now one of my translators that helps me prepare things. This is basically a document out of the officer or the office of the prosecutor general, where this document is talking about official war crimes, official crimes. What we have to remember is this is day 44 of the war. 44. Now listen to this. Crimes committed during the full-scale invasion of the Russian Federation. 4 categories. Crimes of aggression, 3 categories and a children note. Crimes of aggression or war crimes registered during the war in Ukraine, 5,149. Let me repeat that for you. The war has been going for 44 days. This office has already registered 5,149 war crimes. Crimes against national security registered 2,541, 44 days. Crimes by military or political leadership. This is the government side. 432 registered crimes of the politicians. And then they had the numbers here of crimes against children. 169 children have been killed. These are official numbers, but folks, as far as the war crimes, they're official. But I'm telling you right now, the children being killed, 169, and the children being wounded, 306, not even close. There is no official number. I know that last night, I think it was Larry and Debbie asked, do we have an official number on the deaths? No. They have a number they give. No. There's no official number. Now I'm putting this slide back up. This is what we showed last night when Zhenya and I were talking for the hour live. Train infrastructure attacks. 24 hours ago, we were sharing this, and it was just a couple of hours after when that attack happened. I actually we played this for you last night. People leaving. This is Kramatorsk. This is not the explosion, don't worry. So just so you understand, this is what we were talking about last night. We did not expect a train station, especially of the size of Kramatorsk, which is a good city, a strong city, an important city, industrial city, to be attacked like that. Right where you see the video of those people standing, on that video is where the attack took place. In fact, don't worry, I'm not showing the attack. Right there is where the attack happened. That's a picture in front of the train station. And as of going on air tonight, a little while ago, we're up to 52 have been killed, 109 injured from that missile attack. I'm going to show you one more thing here. This is a picture. I'm going to make it bigger for you. If you look at the red circle there, that says Za Dite. Za Dite. It's Russian, and it means for the children. Today, Pastor Kent and I were having a discussion about this, and there's two ways to look at it. Either way is not good, but I'm not a veteran. I haven't been in the military, but I sure do study it, and I've got lots of family members that have been, and lots of friends that are and have been. And I know from watching World War II history and learning and reading that many times, messages are written on the munitions that are going to be sent, that are going to be dropped. Planes are written on within a name. And I can't remember. I'm sure somebody, in here knows it. But there was a nickname for the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Was it Fat Boy? It might have been Fat Boy. I'm trying to pull that one out. Regardless, this is what was written on the missile that struck Kramatorsk. That was the remnants of what was left. Zadite, meaning for the children. So, two ways to look at it. Either the Russians that sent it wrote, it's for your children, we're coming to kill them, whatever. Or it could also be the Russians saying, fat man and little boy. Thank you, guys. I knew it. I knew I was close. Fat man and little boy. So, it's normal, but it's it's no bueno. Thank you guys for that. Everybody helping me. I appreciate it. Zadite. So it's either a message written saying, okay, Ukrainian children, your DNA is no good. Bye-bye. Or it's Russian soldiers writing on it. Hey, we're protecting our children. And, maybe you don't want to hear it that way, but we have to think either way, it's not good. Either way, it's not good, but two ways to look at that. And here's my problem right now. This is my problem right here. This is a picture of the aftermath. There's no bodies in that one, but that's the aftermath. The stuff is left. You can see on the ground. And then here comes the condemnations. Every leader, I put a couple of tweets here. I strongly condemn from Joseph Fontella's, Liz Truss from Great Britain, appalled by the horrific events. The targeting of civilians is a crime. President Biden, the attack on a Ukrainian train station is yet another horrific atrocity committed by Russia, striking civilians who were trying to evacuate and reach safety. So I just have a basic question. So we just let it happen. I mean, okay. Sure. Tochka. The missile fired was a ballistic missile. It's already proven. We're just going to let it happen. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we will continue to supply you with weapons, and we'll continue to, rally in your corner, and we may even consider you for EU by summertime. Folks, I'm aggravated that there's no response. I'm trying to stay balanced, but how on earth can we continue to let this happen? You see, this is logical. It's either going to escalate now or escalate later. I'm here to tell you the truth. If Russia picks up its toys and goes home, please hear me, and Putin stays in power, they will be back within 2 years. I'm telling you, talking with my friends, talking with Ukrainians, talking even with Americans, they'll be back. This has to stop now. And if you think you're going to sanction Vladimir Putin to stop this war, you need your head examined. You need your head examined. Dmitry Kuleba said it perfectly last night or yesterday at the NATO meeting. We need weapons, weapons, and weapons. That's the 3 points. Not only do you need weapons, we need to just put our boots on the ground and take care of this in a New York minute, period. Well, he may push a button. Listen to me closely. He will push a button even if we don't invade, even if we don't defend. Well, he might push a button if we go over there. He may push a button if you don't. He's a madman. It's just so simple. Dmitry Kuleba. This is yesterday and today's news. Russians' rights of membership in the UN Human Rights Council has just been suspended. That was yesterday. War criminals have no place in UN bodies aimed at protecting human rights. Grateful to all member states which supported the relevant UNGA resolution and chose the right side of history. Here's the deal. Russia resigned from that group after this vote took place. And then, just this afternoon, Russia stripped 15 foreign groups for violating legislation. Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International have been stripped of their registration, and they can no longer deal with Russia. You want to... I'm telling you, these are the nations that voted against, voted for, and abstained. But here's the deal. This was reported on CNN. I usually do not put headlines up. I just take the information I get from the war, that I get from Zhenya, and get from all these intranet groups that I'm a part of. I confirm it, and then I build my own stuff and share it with you. But this is CNN. Russia circulated the note threatening consequences ahead of the UN Human Rights Council vote. Sources say, CNN reporting, Russia circulated the note to member states threatening consequences ahead of the vote for a U.S.-led push to suspend Russia from the United Nations Human Rights Council, according to multiple sources at the council. The note shared with CNN stated, it is worth mentioning that not only support for such an initiative, but also an equidistant position in the vote, meaning you abstain or you do not participate, will be considered as an unfriendly gesture. That is called the bully trying to bully people even more. And it's not going to work. It has to stop. 443 Russian diplomats have now been kicked out of nations. That is the list. And they are considered person non gratas, which mean they are unacceptable and unwelcome. The nations are listed right there. I want to check my Russian now. Austria, Bulgaria, actually that's in Ukrainian. Belgium, Greece, Denmark, Estonia, Ireland, Spain, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Northern Macedonia, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Germany, France, Czech, Chornogoria, Montenegro, boom, Sweden, Japan, the European Union, and 12 from the United States as well. These are just diplomats non grata. I want to show you today, there was a guy that's been a tremendous influence into the things that are now happening. His name is Vladimir Jeroninovsky. He is, he's basically a pure, it was a purebred communist, very, very Stalinesque, very USSR oriented, wanted everything from the USSR to come back. He was one of the key supporters for Vladimir Putin. Now, this guy died a few days ago, and of course, all the rumors floating around. He had COVID back in February, and then he was sick, or then he was poisoned, or then he just died, whatever. It doesn't matter. He was born the year after World War II ended, 1946. But he did die, and today he had a state funeral. In fact, when Boris Yeltsin was elected president of Russia, this guy came in third place. I mean, he's big into the Duma, into the leadership of Russia. Very good buddies with Putin. In fact, today, Putin attended his funeral. And I just want to show you a clip. I want you to understand. I want you to see. This is in the Russian Orthodox Church there in Moscow. And then you will see Vladimir Putin come in, pay his respects. I pulled the sound out of this. I didn't want to hear it. But you need to see the image. Then Putin comes in, pays his respect, and just gives you an idea of life inside Moscow. So there you have it. That's the funeral of Jeroninovsky, and it's actually quite important. But I wanted to prepare a little glimpse for you to see inside of Moscow today. Not only that, you need to understand that Vladimir Putin is not in a bunker in the Urals. If you are reading that, seeing the videos come, he is not in the Urals. I promise you. He's in Moscow. He's at the Kremlin. The Kremlin is a fortress. So, I mean, you can take that for what it's worth. But he is inside Moscow. He's not in the Urals. And did Putin vein the sign of the cross? Yes, he's Orthodox. Vladimir Putin considers himself to be an Orthodox Christian. So yes, he gave the sign of the cross. Remember, we're warped, folks. This is warped. This is evil. Warped. I don't know how else to describe it. Yes, he did. And that's another reason I want to... he drug his football around so it could be filmed. Yeah. This is the new general, folks. I want you just to see him. This is General Alexander Dvornikov. This is now the general. Is that blasphemy? Yes, it's blasphemy. Of course it is. But God's the judge, but yes. General Alexander Dvornikov, the new general. Folks, this dude is bad. This dude is bad. And bad doesn't mean good here. He's the butcher that did the terrible atrocities in Syria. Former President Dmitry Medvedev. Do you remember this guy? This is the president that he and Putin are buddies, and they just traded places. I know we had the movie Trading Places that had Eddie Murphy and some other guy in it. It might not even been Eddie Murphy. I think it was Eddie Murphy. Trading Places. Richard Pryor? I don't know. Trading Places. Well, we had Trading Places with Medvedev and Putin. Remember, Putin was president, and then Medvedev became president, and Putin became prime minister, and then Medvedev left the presidency, and he actually he's like in the inner circle director of the Security Council for Russia. His job is to execute Putin's plans. That's what that means. And then Vladimir Putin came back to be president. So Medvedev, a few days ago, called sanctions basically an act of war. And Medvedev called sanctions against Russia an act of aggression by the West. Today, in a comment to the propaganda media, Dmitry Medvedev said that Western sanctions against Russia can be qualified as an act of international aggression in connection with which Russia has the right to individual and collective defense. Now, I want to make you aware, and I've got the video, and I will show it to you, but be reminded that on March 26, Medvedev listed the grounds for the use of nuclear weapons by Russia. One of them he called was an act of aggression against Russia or its allies, as a result of which the existence of the country would be in jeopardy. So, folks, these are the things being considered. Big shout out today for Slovakia. Slovakia provided Ukraine with S-300 air defense systems. Now, the United States is supposed to be moving Patriot missile systems into Slovakia. Slovakia pushed the S-300s into Ukraine, and now the U.S. is supposed to be pushing Patriots into Slovakia. Folks, it's just becoming more weaponized. And as you know, if you can remember, our Patriot missile systems, they're unbelievable. And the last time they were used is when we were actually in war in Iraq. They're maybe in Afghanistan, but for sure Iraq. They're the best. So these defense systems have been pushed in by Slovakia. The point being, Ukraine is getting more heavy weaponry, better weaponry, but not only that, more weapons are pushing into the NATO-controlled areas, and it becomes very, very dangerous. Finally, the last thing for tonight is Ludmila Denisova. Got to remember where to put that accent. Ludmila Denisova, commissioner of the Verkhovna Rada for Human Rights, said that according to her information from various sources, listen to this now, more than 121,000 children have already been forcibly taken to Russia. That is not a typo. I copied and pasted it from the source. It is not a typo. It's not 1,210. It's not 12,100. It is 121,000 children have already been forcibly taken to Russia. It is now known that the occupants took some of the children from Mariupol to Donetsk and then afterwards into the direction of Taganrog and Rostov, which are in Russia. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about the Red Forest. I moved that back a night because I had so much to share tonight on Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. Thank you. That's Trading Places. I think that's a good prayer right there, Ralph Foster. We'll put that one up to close out. Ralph Foster coming in from the Philippines. Lord, please continue to confuse the enemy. Well, folks, that's where we're at. Tomorrow night, the Red Forest. You do not want to miss that one. As well as I have some video in from Russian media showing you some scorched earth. It's okay for everybody to watch, but it will be very eye-opening for you. I want to thank you tonight for being here and being a part of this update on day 44. I cannot believe this has been 44 days. But in 23 hours, we will give you an update on day 45. I hope tonight that during the night we do not have another Kramatorsk happen. But we continue to pray for Ukraine. As always, thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for continuing to give. After the weekend, I will get updated numbers as far as the amount of donations that we have raised. We are north of 75,000 with my last update, and we're pushing for 100. Why not? So thank you. Thank you for all that you do. We're making a difference the best we can. So tonight, may the Lord bless you, keep you, cause his face to shine upon you, be gracious to you. You guys have a great Friday night. Enjoy your Saturday, and we'll see you in 23 hours. Good night.